English language in southern England. English in southern England also, rarely, Southern English English, or in the UK simply. Southern English is the collective set of different dialects and accents of the English spoken in southern England. South East England and the home counties. South East England and the home counties. The counties bordering London tend to reflect the interface between the London region and other regional accents. Affluent districts are associated with a modified received pronunciation (RP) accent, reflecting their traditional popularity with upper middle and upper class residents, which has spread throughout more social classes broadly in rural areas with commuting access to London. Less affluent areas have traditionally mainstream London accents, that is, variants of the estuary English accent, that grade into southern rural outside urban areas. Regional dialect leveling supralocalization in the southeast of England. Commentators report widespread homogenization in the southeast. Kurzweil and Williams 2000, Britain 2002. The features present a leveling between the extremes of estuarine pronunciation and careful received pronunciation, and except where an intuitive neutral parity position exists, they include reduced amount of H dropping, increased amount of TH fronting, goat fronting to at Y, RP variant in mouth a U, low back onset of price I, lowered / unrounded from I, OI or I, or I, raising of onset of face to EI, I to EI to EI, fronting of goose to Y, fronting of foot, lowering and backing of trap, backing of struck. Wells notes traditional aspects of rural southeastern speech as lengthened E in trap words and use of EI or EU in mouth words. London. Accents are non-rhotic, that is, phonetically R occurs only before vowels. General characteristics of all major London accents include diphthongal realization of /I, / and /u, / for example beak bi, boot bo. This can also be a monophthong boo, 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 diphthongal realization of /o/ in open syllables. For example, bore, bow at paw, poet versus a monophthongal realization in closed syllables. For example, board, bow, d, pause, po, z, o, z. But the diphthong is retained before inflectional endings, so that board and pause often contrast with board, bow at d and pause, po at z. Lengthening of /e/ in words such as man, sad, bag, hand, cf, can, had, lad. Split of /e/ into two phonemes /e/ and /e/. See bad lad split. An allophone of /u/ before dark ll, namely a u, for example whole ha versus holy h at uli. But the u is retained when the addition of a suffix turns the dark l clear, so that holy ha uli can contrast with holy. It is also common to hear young Londoners drop to the from sentences related to going places such as do you want to go cinema / do you want to go West End. Sloane speak and raw slang. Cockney. Cockney is an accent traditionally from the working classes of the areas immediately surrounding the city of London, most famously including the East End. It is characterized by a number of phonological differences from RP. The dental fricatives th, d are replaced with labiodental fv, for example think if ink. The diphthong /a u/ is monophthongized to e, for example south sa, fff, h dropping, for example house ess, essss, full house replacement of t in the middle or end of a word with a glottal stop, for example hit I. Diphthong shift of I to at I, for example beat be at I, ei to I, for example, bait ba I to I, for example, bite ba I, and oi to oi, for example, oi bo I. Vocalization of L dark L to W, for example, people p at ip w. Multicultural London English. Multicultural London English, abbreviated MLE, colloquially called Blockney or Jaffakin, is a dialect and slash or sociolect of English that emerged in the late 20th century. It is spoken mainly by youths in multicultural parts of working-class London. Jamaican London. The speech of Jamaicans or children of Jamaican parents in London shows interesting combinations of the Jamaican accent with the London accent. For example, in Jamaican English, /th/ is replaced by t, for example, both /bo, t/. In London, word final /t/ is realized as mentioned above. In Jamaican London speech, glottalization of /t/ applies also to /t/ from /th/, for example, both of them bu at dem. Hypercorrections like f for foot are also heard from Jamaicans. John C. Wells's dissertation, Jamaican Pronunciation in London, was published by the Philological Society in 1973. Essex. Essex is usually associated with estuary English, mainly in urban areas receiving an influx of East London migrants. The non-urban Essex accent, generally found in the north of the county, is more closely related to those of East Anglia. Residents of places within Essex such as Basildon, Billericay, and Grays are more likely to have an accent similar to the traditional Cockney accent due to the proximity to East London and East End migration to these areas since WW2. Estuary. Estuary English is the name given to an accent or group of accents that may informally be considered a compromise between Cockney and RP. It retains some aspects of Cockney, such as the vocalization of L dark L to O and yod coalescence in stressed syllables, for example, duty d zoo, I in replacement of T with, the glottal stop in weak positions or occasionally with D. Berkshire. Berkshire is often missed in dialect definitions and placed on borderlines between southeast and West England. Berkshire is mainly non-rhotic, but traditional accents may still be found across the county. Parts of West Berkshire may still be rhotic, but this feature is quickly becoming even less frequent. East Hertfordshire. The East Herts accent traditionally spoken is akin to a native central/north Essex rural accent. The largest towns in particular have the diverse sociolect variants of received pronunciation and estuary English as seen in London, with smaller settlements tending towards the traditional dialects or variants of RP. West Hertfordshire and Buckinghamshire. Before the 21st century, West Herts and Buckinghamshire tended to have R-colored vowels. For instance, here the established dialects made a distinction between the words farther and father/fa rd at r and /fa d at r/r/. However, in recent times, strong influences have come from London's estuary English, thanks to the influx of post-World War II migrants from across London, and thus estuary English is now the norm across West Herts and Buckinghamshire, though some of the older dialect can be heard in older generations, particularly in more rural areas. Hampshire. Hampshire, like Berkshire, is also often missed in dialect definitions and placed on borderlines between southeast and West England. In country areas in Southampton, the local accent can still be heard amongst some speakers, for example, by John Arlott, Lord Denning and Reg Presly, although the use of the V sound in field has declined. Since the 1960s, particularly in Andover and Basingstoke, the local accent has changed, reflecting the arrival of East Londoners relocated by London County Council. It can be argued that Hampshire is a borderline county moving east, linguistically. In the northeast part of the county, the accent tends to have more of a twang that can be hard to place for outsiders, leading people from other areas to even mistake the speaker's origins as being from Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, or Zimbabwe. Portsmouth. The traditional Portsmouth dialect, affectionately known as the Pompey dialect, and less favorably as just chav talk, is an oddity and somewhat an isolate. It stands well apart both structurally and phonetically from all other local English varieties around it. The traditional origin story is that the dockyards attracted an influx of East Londoners at the turn of the 20th century, and the accent is based in dockyard slang. Though structurally it is based around an East London model, it has retained a lot of traditional Hampshire features. Whilst it follows the consonant rules of estuary English closely, the vowel sounds are quite different. The dialect is not a recent phenomenon and can be heard in the speech of local people in their 90s. The surrounding accents geographically are quite different, and few contain as many of the estuary isms found in the Pompey dialect, and some of those may actually originate from Portsmouth. Bedfordshire. As with neighbouring Hertfordshire, Bedfordshire has a variety of accents. In the Luton/Dunstable urban area, the accent is similar to a London accent, and it is often mistaken as one. This is because of the overflow of Londoners and their subsequent generations in the area. The Lutonian accent is not as strong as an accent from Essex. In mid-Bedfordshire, the more traditional accent of the area is still held, especially by those of an older generation or in very remote areas. While in North Bedfordshire, especially near the border with Northamptonshire, it can be argued that the dialect is one which sounds more like East Midlands English. Bedford itself is linguistically diverse, reflecting the more varied demographics of the town compared with the surrounding villages. A typical Bedford accent is more similar to a Londonian Luton or Dunstable accent, due largely to movement of people from these places to Bedford. Kent. Surrey. A traditional Surrey accent again has or-coloured vowels while being entirely non-rhotic. Estuary English is common throughout the county, particularly in the northern areas bordering on London, although many large settlements further south into Surrey, such as Guildford and Woking, share in variants of estuary English. Furthest north into Surrey is the borough of Spelthorne, where the accent is indistinguishable as formerly part of Middlesex from the London accent, due to its sharing borders with the London boroughs of Hounslow, Richmond-upon-Thames and Hillingdon. Rural South and West Country. This family of similar strongly rhotic accents, now perceived as rural, originally extended across much of southern England south of the broad isogloss, but they are now most often found west of a line roughly from Shropshire via Oxfordshire. Their shared characteristics have been caricatured as Somerset. They persist most strongly in areas that remain largely rural, with a largely indigenous population, particularly the West Country. In many other areas they are declining because of RP and estuary accents, as well as rhoticity. Here are common features of West County accents. The diphthong/I/ as in price realized as I or oi, sounding more like the diphthong in received pronunciation choice. The diphthong/AU/ as in mouth realized as EU with a starting point close to the vowel in received pronunciation dress. The vowel /a/ as in lot realized as an unrounded vowel A is in many forms of American English. In traditional West Country accents, the voiceless fricatives /f///th//th/s/ as in sat, farm, think, shed respectively are often voiced to z, v, d, z, giving pronunciations like Somerset for Somerset, varm for farm, sure for sure, etc. In the Bristol area, a vowel at the end of a word is often followed by an intrusive dark ll. Hence, the old joke about the three Bristolian sisters Evil, Idle, and Normal written Eva, Ida, and Norma. L is pronounced darkly where it is present, too, which means that, in Bristolian rendering, idea and ideal are homophones. H dropping in South Devon and Cornwall, Berry 8 for Berry Head in Brixham, South Devon in traditional southern rural accents. The voiceless fricatives /s///th//s/ always remain voiceless, which is the main difference from West Country accents. East Anglia. Features which can be found in East Anglian English, especially in Norfolk, include ya dropping after all consonants. Beautiful may be pronounced boo, if at l often represented as bootiful or beautiful, ujesu dz, and so on. Absence of the long mid-merger between early modern English /o/ as in toe, moan, road, boat, and /ou/ as in toe, moan, road. The vowel of toe, moan, road, boat may be realized as o, so that boat may sound to outsiders like boot. Glottal stop frequent for /t/, t/. The diphthong /i/ as in price realized as oi, sounding very much like the diphthong in received pronunciation choice. The vowel /a/ as in lot realized as an unrounded vowel a is in many forms of American English. Merger of the vowels of near and square rp/i at/ and /e at/, making chair and cheer homophones. East Anglian accents are generally non-rhotic. There are differences between, and even within areas of East Anglia. The Norwich accent has distinguishing aspects from the Norfolk dialect that surrounds it, chiefly in the vowel sounds. The accents of Suffolk and Cambridgeshire are different from the Norfolk accent.